Welcome into another edition of the Redout podcast. I am Jake, and I am here with my co-host Devin. How we doing, Devin?
I'm doing good. Second time's the charm.
It really is. We knocked one out, got it posted, and we only sound like fifth grade girls. So that's a pretty good start, I would say. At
Or a
least
Willie Nelson concert. I mean, I don't know which.
yeah, straight through the nose.
Yep.
So tonight we've actually got a little bit more of a plan lined out. We're going to talk about some other WKU athletic teams besides football, and then we're going to get in, and then after that we're going to get into the national breaking news that happened today with the collegiate basketball bribery scandal. Going to talk about generally what happened, what it could mean for the in-state school named the University of Louisville, and I've even got a take on what it might mean for Western, because there is a slight connection or a possible connection to WKU's program, and then we're going to get into football. So without further ado, Devin, do you want to start talking about the
Sure.
Lady Topper soccer program?
All right. Looks like the Lady Toppers held USM scoreless on their last, and of course it came away with a draw, which was a kind of like a kiss in your sister moment, I guess.
Boo.
The first scoreless draw since Florida Atlantic game on October 16th, 2015. We had 6 different players that took shots. Hannah, Chandler, Sarah, Victoria, each took 2 shots, and their goalie obviously deflected those. And Megan Morris and Hannah Kennedy each took 1 shot, which, positive note here, our keeper, Allison Leon, earned her 25th shutout. She had 7 saves.
Which is kind of insane.
Oh, yeah.
And not only that, but also Allison Leon and Christina Brigado both were named Conference USA Players of the Week.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, Allison Leon was named the CSA Goalkeeper of the Week, and Christina Brigado was the Defensive Player of the Week. And Allison Leon, or Leone, however you say your name, this is the 3rd time that she's been Conference USA Goalie of the Week, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, sorry, sweetheart, or all the ladies if we mess up your names, I'm sure you'll never listen to this, and it's okay.
Right, you will absolutely never hear this. If you are listening,
we apologize.
You guys are great because you're the soccer team that Western decided to keep. You beat
That's
the men,
right.
so good job.
Hey, I was at Western, I should say, when they did cut the men's program, and it was a sad day, but at the same time, they didn't have anybody in the stands. So
Yeah.
I can stand behind Western when they did that.
Yeah, seriously, the girls were better and they pulled more people, so we'll watch the girls play more than the guys.
Yeah, they were hot, so okay.
You said it, I didn't.
Yep. Go ahead, bud. You want to talk about...
Yeah, I can talk about Jeremy Evans for a second. So he got a contract with the Hawks, which is pretty cool. I wasn't at Western when Jeremy played, which is kind of sad because he was kick-ass. But he got drafted by the Utah Jazz, and he was there from 10 to 15, and then he played 15 to 16 with the Mavs. And then last year he played with a Russian team. I cannot do a Russian accent. Russian accent does you, I would imagine. And now he's back.
Vodka.
Yeah, I mean, I do like vodka a lot. But he after he left the Russian team, he's now back with the Hawks, which is really cool. It's good to have him stateside again because he's kind of a boss.
Gotta love it. I mean, anytime one of our boys comes back and he's playing pro, you gotta love it.
Well, and I mean, he was instrumental in us being good the last time we were actually good. So
Exactly. Our Lady Topper volleyball team swept Charlotte. That would be, was that Sunday? It's Sunday night? Yeah, I guess it was. They had 3 tops hit double digit on kills. I don't follow volleyball, but I'm sure that doesn't sound as bad as it is.
So kills are like when they hit the ball down and it scores.
Like a spike. Okay.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay. So Rachel Anderson had 20 kills. Sydney Engel had 13. And Alyssa, I'm sorry, sweetheart, I'm not even going to try it,
Alyssa
had 12
Kavanaugh.
kills. What was that?
Alyssa Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay. I'm horrible on names, so
Yes, he is. It's
I'm
okay.
going to butcher
Forgive
all
him. He English is
actually-
his first language. It's fine.
It is, yeah. Redneck's my first language.
Perfect.
Alyssa Kavanaugh actually had 25 kills last Friday when they played. Was that FAU?
Yeah,
I don't have that stat in front of me, but WKU swept Charlotte and now has the longest winning streak in the conference. So way to go, lady volleyball.
Yeah, seriously, it's 11 in a row. It's crazy. Though I still don't know how they're not ranked in the top 25. Like, we beat Ohio State. We're sweeping everyone in the conference. Like, come the hell on. Rank
Yep.
us already.
I mean, I'm guessing it's because it's a small town kind of feel, and they don't want to put us up there. So, you know what? More power to them.
Yeah, that's fine. Wait till the tournament comes. We'll spank them. Okay, so the last thing we're going to talk about before we get into college basketball was the Lady Tops at the Pirate Collegiate Classic, which was hosted by East Carolina College. So we had several players do really well. In fact, the final results came down. Georgina Blackman and Katie Story tied for 5th. Mary Joyner got 10th. Bailey Tyree tied for 13th, and Megan Clark tied for 62nd. There were a boat ton of them playing, and so when you say tied for 62nd, Megan Clark's just a freshman, so that's pretty darn good. And next week they're going to compete in Kentucky's Betty Lou Evans Collegiate on October 6th to the 8th in Lexington, Kentucky.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the
Love
girls'
that.
golf's pretty good.
I think it was hilarious. I mean, and it's not funny because of her, but I watched Megan Clark's interview with one of WKU's reporters, and I gotta say, I love the British accent. I was just waiting for it. I was like, oh,
She's
that's
British?
awesome.
I did not know she was
Yes.
British.
Yes, she is. She is from Britain.
Hey, man.
And she's like, I can't get used to all the different rules from the homeland and blah, blah,
no,
blah.
seriously,
And I was
there are so many weird rules for golf. Like, for instance, if you hit a golf ball into a manor house, you're allowed, you don't have to take a penalty as long as it's close enough to the course. You can open a window and hit the ball out for no penalty. That's a legit rule. I kid you not. There's a 600-page
Oh my
rule book.
gosh.
It's one of the rules. It's totally wild.
well, I think one of the things she talked about was that the coaches, either here or there, I don't remember, could come on the green with them and talk to them and say, hey, you can do this or you can do that, or I would do this or I would do that. And I was like, wow,
Dude, there's even a rule
that's
about
really cool.
there's even a rule about setting a water bottle on a green, like with water in it, to see which way it breaks, because people apparently have done that, and that's against the rules because somebody used a water bottle or like something with liquid in it as a level.
Wow.
Yeah. So ingenuity, right?
Yeah, I mean, I never would have thought of that. So, wow.
Yeah. There's good stuff.
Okay, so I will go ahead and open up this
The
bag of worms here.
the bribery
Yes,
scandal, the biggest
The-
athletic scandal ever.
I mean, it's got the possibility to include several schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at WDRB's page
Mhm.
on the scandal, and they're calling it the fall of the House of Cards. I mean, it's really.
It's bad.
I'm just reading it, and it's bad. Basically, from what I'm taking it, they didn't name the university. They called it University 6.
Correct.
But,
Okay, so
but you could put their name in there because there's only 2 research schools in the state,
correct,
and it's got 22,640.
students, which is exactly what
Yeah.
U of L has. But let me start by breaking down exactly the kind of the overall scheme, and then we'll get into how U of L is tied up in it. So they've arrested 10 people in this. 4 of them were assistant men's college basketball coaches, apparel company senior execs, and possibly some more coaches and school officials on the way. So there were 2 schemes in this. The one that we really care about, at least in this state, was that an apparel company, Adidas, was paying massive amounts of money. In fact, the report is $100,000 to the University of Louisville, or to Brian Bowen, who
Yes.
is recruit number 11. Is that what the report
Yeah, I
says?
think that's. Let
I
me
think it
double check
was.
this, but yeah, you're right.
It's Brian Bowen.
No,
Okay.
no. He's
Yeah,
player
it's
10, but yes,
player
you're right.
10.
It's who it is.
It's Brian Bowen.
Yes.
Which sucks because he was going to be a great player for that team, but not anymore. They were going to pay. They promised to pay his family $100,000 if he would attend the University of Louisville, and then upon graduation, if he would sign his shoe deal with Adidas, and B would go with a certain financial advisor or basketball manager in exchange for committing to the University of Louisville. So as far as the other guys that have been arrested, Chuck Person, who's an assistant coach at Auburn, wonder how Bruce Pearl got people to be good so fast. Lamont Evans, an assistant at OK State. Emmanuel Richardson, an assistant at Arizona. And Tony Bland, an assistant at the University of Southern California. So essentially what was happening is the schools and the apparel companies were kind of in cahoots to get these good players. The apparel companies were funneling cash to the students' families in exchange for the kids to either sign with Adidas or to use a certain manager, or in U of L's case, to attend the University of Louisville. And also, we think that it might be Miami. The University of Miami is the school in Florida that might be involved as well. So, dear God, and talk about U of L's a repeat offender. Miami is too. It's the same old crew.
Now, see, now I don't know if Miami would fall into the repeat offender.
No, because it's been too far.
Yeah, it's been 6 years from their last scandal.
Really, Miami's only been 6 years ago.
Yeah, it was 2011.
Oh God.
From what I found online. Yeah, I know. Of course, I don't know the details of the scandal on that one, but I did look it up to see that. And looks like, is Western an Adidas school? Do you know? Or are we Nike?
Western, us? Like Kentucky? Yeah, we're Nike.
Yes, us.
Yeah, Russell then Nike.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just double checking that because I thought, ooh, are we Adidas too?
No. I'll tell you why I think there's where there might be a connection. It's been on Twitter a little bit.
Okay.
Well, the deal with that is not Western, not WKU, because we were Russell and then Nike. So it's not that Adidas is paying any Western players. I mean, obviously we haven't had the caliber players to get paid.
Or they left after a couple weeks and then they came back and then they left again.
Oh, dude, that was a crazy thing. Is that there's this tinfoil hat that Barstool Western's doing, and shout out to Barstool Western, formerly Greek Humor, on Twitter because they kind of kill it. But they said that Mitchell Robinson had a lot of Adidas stuff when he was in the AAU circuit. And then and literally the time brain goes he's okay. Adidas, he commits a few little bit after he commits. We announced that that Western's a Nike school, and then he runs away, comes back, and then runs away again. It's like, oh, he just had that Adidas money. That's all that was. Because he did go visit Kansas, who's an Adidas school.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Kansas isn't named on this. So you wonder
just wait
if they're going to drop Kansas.
Well, just wait, because there's some talk about how Andrew Wiggins, during his recruitment, how there might have been some sync up between some of these undercover operatives and the people that were helping Andrew Wiggins decide where he was going to go to college. So I would not be surprised to see the University of Kansas added to this list down the road. I mean, it's been a 3-year deal. Now
hold on. Let's talk real quick. Name the schools again. It's Auburn, Arizona.
Yeah. Auburn, Arizona, the University of Southern California, and one more. Hold on.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's one more because I think that's 4, and then Louisville would be 5. Let me go back here real quick. But kind of while you're looking that up, another thing I was
Oklahoma State. Sorry,
Oklahoma State.
It's
yep,
Auburn.
You got it.
Auburn, OK State, Arizona, and the University of Southern California. Louisville makes 5, and then if Miami ends up being the other one, which we all believe that it is, because again the numbers just like Louisville match, then that makes 6 that are named today.
Now, and like you said before, there was 10 coaches that were arrested.
Well,
now
10 people, 4 coaches.
Okay, 10 people, 4 coaches. The big thing I think that saved Louisville there was that I don't think the Louisville coaches, quotations, took any money.
Yeah.
And I think that's the saving grace in that part. Now, as far as the FBI goes, I think Louisville's going to get off. I don't think there's going to be anything really for the school. But I think that they're going to face some NCAA violations. And this is where we disagree, but go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that first, the investigation is ongoing. I listened to the Department of Justice presser from the Southern District of New York today at 12 while I should have been working. And, I mean, I was working, but I had it on in my earbud. And they talked about how they're still investigating. This is far from over. And not only do I think more schools are going to fall, but I think more coaches are going to get involved. And if any coaches at the University of Louisville were facilitating or were complicit in the wire fraud, that's accessory to wire fraud, and that's still a federal offense. So I'm not holding out that Coach 2-1 might not still be arrested, and one of the reasons I say that is because why won't they name them, right?
Exactly.
Why wouldn't you say?
I think they didn't name them because they're trying to avoid it being out in the press because this is a huge scandal and everybody's going to hear about it,
Yeah, but even
and they need that for a jury trial.
I guess, but the funny thing is, there was a couple questions asked after the guy gave his spiel, uh, the FBI agent gave his spiel, and it was funny because they're like, okay, well, why aren't you naming? Why are you calling them school six and school whatever? And he's like, well, it's still under investigation, but I mean, the internet's a great thing, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
figure it
Well, it's
out.
well,
So he was
the
essentially
funny
being like,
thing.
yeah, you're right. I just can't say it right now because we might arrest more people.
Well, the funny thing is they're like player 10. I think it was the Bowen kid or whatever
Yeah,
his name
yeah.
is. And they're like he committed on June 3rd, and all you have to do is go to Google and say what kids committed to
Oh,
a
yeah. I
I've
mean,
named basketball school. I mean,
dude,
come on, people.
I was
One plus
listening.
one.
Yeah, I was listening to that because Drew Diener from ESPN 680 was the guy on top of that story, and he never breaks stories. And he was like laughing because one of the boosters called him and was like, "Hey, by the way, Brian Bowen is hanging out in Louisville with Rick Pitino right now."
Yeah,
And
he
like,
better be.
yeah, for $100,000, you bet your
Oh
butt
my
he is.
gosh.
I just
Well, I mean, it's going to be safe to say that Bowen is, or Bo, or whatever his name
Bowen,
is
yeah,
probably done for. Yeah, I don't really care what his last name is.
yeah, because he ain't gonna
Player
play
10 is
NCAA.
basically done for this season. I mean, it's safe to say.
He's going to the NBA. He's not gonna play college basketball
You're probably right.
because he's gonna be ineligible this year, and he's a one and done. So
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be done. He's going to be going to the pros. I mean, I think it would be safe for him just to go ahead and get an agent and just be like, "Hey,
yeah,
coach,
I mean, you might as well.
I'm going on. I might as well."
Yeah.
So does Rick hang it up?
Oh yeah. Rick's
I
fired.
mean, he has to, right?
Yeah. And listen, I graduated from the University of Louisville's law school. I consider myself a University of Louisville fan. When they're not playing Western, because Western is my alma mater and my home. But and I even thought in the last scandal, I was like, okay, look, there's some he kept enough space, whether he knew or not, he kept enough space for plausible deniability. So let's just move on and go win some basketball games. However, this is a whole new ball game. Not only is this, in my opinion, significantly crazier because of the cash involved and because felonies, but uh, this is within legitimately like a year of this stuff calming down. It even said, like, WDRB has it, the Courier's got it, that the coach that they named, now we don't think that coach is Rick Pitino. We think the coach that said this is an assistant
Yeah,
coach who was talking
yeah.
about Rick Pitino. But he even said, hey, we're on probation, so y'all got to keep this on the DL. Like,
Now, what's funny is when you're
what?
bringing that up. Let me go over to this real quick. There was something I heard on the radio earlier today talking about this, and they Coach one or two said, and this is paraphrasing. It's not a quote by any means. That if they had to talk to Coach so and so, he's got a big blank to swing around, and things
Yeah,
get
yeah.
done. And
Yeah,
I was
no,
like, oh my
that's in
god.
the. You guys can go look that up. We won't exactly quote it because I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, I
Because the
can't find it
current,
online.
yeah, but I read it earlier today. SB Nation might have it. That might have been where I read it, but yeah, it's like he's got the biggest swinging blank in the room when it comes to Adidas. He also said, and these are quotes. This comes from the Courier Journal's article on it. Coach one said, "We got to be very low key." According to the complaint, Coach one also describes another University 6 coach as so influential that all Coach 2 has to do is pick up the phone and call somebody and say, "These are my guys. They're taking care of us." I mean, I'm sorry, it sounds like Patino. Now, granted, it might not be, right? Like, no one from Louisville has been, this is all conjecture.
Yeah, this
I
is
mean,
us just guessing.
right, we're not accusing anybody. We don't know. We're just two schmucks sitting in our
Yeah,
houses talking, right? But
exactly.
it looks bad. And even if it's not, Rick, even if because he released a statement earlier, Devin. I don't know if you saw that. It was just the
Yes.
general coach speak that all of them do
Yeah.
when they get busted for stuff, or when something bad in their program happens. But even if he's never indicted, and even if they figure out exactly who did it and why, it's too much, man. If he cares about the university at all, he's got to resign. He's got
Okay.
to resign.
Now let me tell you the nail in the coffin for Rick Pitino. And I heard this on the radio earlier. When player 10 committed to Louisville, you got to listen. There is an interview with him and some national guy, and Rick comes on there and he's like, "I'm really lucky, and to have this 5-star recruit dropped in my lap." He had literally, this is paraphrasing again. He says, I have an AAU rep call me and say, hey, I've got a player for you. He's like, we didn't pay anything for him to come to our school. He's like, they put him up in a hotel. They paid his meals. He's like, you know, he literally came and he couldn't commit publicly, but he committed privately.
Right. That's and that's one
And
of
I'm
those
like,
things.
what?
Because what's funny is in the absence of this, what I firmly believe is going to go down as the biggest athletic scandal of our generation until something crazier happens next year.
Yeah,
If this hadn't happened, that's the playbook now for one and dones, right? Their AAU coach brings them into town, they schmoozed. I mean, it's World Wide West, right? But
exactly.
that coupled with the timeline of when guys when a Louisville assistant coach was in Vegas, and by the way, they've got this wiretapped, okay?
Nope.
That's eventually, after this case eventually resolves, we're gonna get to see video of a U of L coach in a hotel room with an undercover agent bargaining. It's gonna be bad. Like it's gonna be.
Oh, it's yeah.
I mean, it already
And
is bad, but it's only getting worse.
yeah, I mean this dumpster fire is just
It's
getting
a
worse.
dumpster
And I
fire.
mean and that's one thing I kind of dreaded bringing it up because Jake is a very avid U of L fan, and I hate it for U of L. One, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
I hate it for the town of Louisville. Two, but also if Louisville gets the death penalty here, which is a possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
It is a possibility. It is
Jake
a
and I
possibility.
actually have a bet that they will or will
Yep.
not.
$10 says they don't.
Yep, Jake's saying 10, they don't. I'm saying 10, they do. But if that goes through, look at the Yum Center.
Oh yeah,
The
Yum
only
Center's.
people that can play there is the University of Louisville men's basketball, and like every other Sunday and this blue moon, some volleyball team can play.
Hey, the women play there too.
Okay,
So
women play, but
they only sell
who
like
they don't. I was
they
gonna say
sell the
who
lower
brings.
bowl.
Yeah,
That's
but
it.
who brings in the money is the Louisville men's basketball.
Oh yeah, without a
I
doubt.
mean, and that's the
Without a doubt.
bad part is they need a NBA team or somebody else to kind of help the community out because that place is going to be empty.
Yeah, and that's gonna stink. And another thing, and actually, Devin, your dad called me and was
Oh
asking me about
God.
what happened. No, he was very empathetic. Your dad is a super like everybody thinks your dad like everybody knows your dad has a good heart. Like he's rough around the edges, but he has a genuinely he's kind of a softie inside. And he was like, I don't. He's like, listen, I hate Louisville, like the university, but he said, I feel sorry for all the people that work for the Yum Center, all the people that work for the university, the fans that bought the season tickets, the kids that had nothing to do with this that are going to suffer for it, just like the team 2 years
Hmm.
ago. He's like, this is just, he's like, they need to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and I agree.
I mean, and I'm with you. I have nothing against the university. I don't agree with Rick Pitino on things that he's done outside of the sport.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, we're all human, and we have to learn from our mistakes and not judge others. Um, so that's why I will not shoot here on Louisville. Now, if they get a different coach down the road, yeah, I can cheer on Louisville, and I can be, I'm not going to put a sticker on my car, but I'll say whoop whoop, go Louisville. But that's it.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I just I think it's time. It just
Yep.
it's past due for Louisville to wash their hands of the current athletic administration. I like Tom Jurich. I like him and Rick Pitino have done for this university, but no one is bigger than this university. I'm sorry. I don't care how good you are. The university existed before Rick Pitino and Tom Jurich, and it needs to exist after. And it's going to
Exactly.
be a long time before they make money again. Now, one
Well,
thing. So the Western thing, I want to do one real quick. So, or did I ever say that about how Stansbury is connected?
no, go ahead.
So, just one real quick to point out, this was something really cool. I think I was going to talk about it with Barstool, and then we got off track. That Rick Stansbury's two previous coaching stints. Now, Rick Stansbury's known for being a masterful recruiter. I mean, he just is. In fact, people said that the only person they fear more than Rick Stansbury on the recruiting trail is John Calipari. Like he's very good. But the two schools that he's had coaching stints at, Mississippi State and Texas A&M, who do you think the apparel companies are for those two schools?
I'm guessing Adidas.
Yeah, they have huge Adidas deals. A&M got one in 2015, and it was huge. It was the biggest in the SEC at the time. And Mississippi State got one that was a 7-year deal back in 2014. Uh, so I'm not
Well,
saying that Rick Stansberry had anything to do with this, but as a Western fan, it terrifies me that this is a 3-year probe, and looking back that far, we had a coach who was at an Adidas school, and that scares me because I think he probably didn't. I think those are big enough schools, and he didn't have that good of recruiting classes to really be paying people. But man, it terrifies me. Not for Western, because Western's not gonna. We just lose a coach, right? Which
yeah.
stinks. I think Stansberry's a good guy, but I'd rather not lose him.
Well, I don't think we will lose Stansberry. I think I think he's clean. I don't think there's any problems, 'cause especially since those schools didn't have any problems. But
This is
was
true.
the deal with the schools you're talking about bigger than the latest U of
Oh
L
no,
apparel deal?
not even close. U of L has the biggest Adidas apparel deal, and the third biggest apparel deal in collegiate athletics. There
It's
are
10 years, and
it's
now you know why.
10 years, 160 mil. They've been courted by Under Armour and Nike to do some smaller deals. I mean, bigger than their previous one, but
Now,
and they were
what are they going to pay the players they're looking to recruit? I mean, is it over 100,000 or what?
dude, I
I'm
don't.
joking, dude. I'm
I'll tell you,
joking.
I don't know how. Of course, I didn't read the Adidas contract because I'm sure it's like 400 pages, and I just don't have time to
Oh,
read
nobody
that.
cares
I
about
like
that stuff.
contracts, but uh, that's about the only money that and football tickets are about the only money that UFL's going to be making these next couple years. So they better the UFL lawyers better just sell Jurich and Patino down the river and
Yep.
focus in on keeping that contract from being broke up because they
Well,
need that $160 million.
I can tell you this: if they do get rid of Jurich, I mean, they're going to be saving a lot of money because his contract is $5 million.
Yeah, he's the highest paid athletic director in the country.
Is it the country or the state? I know for the state for sure,
It's
because I
not.
think Mitch Barnhart only makes he's close to $1 million, but that's it.
Yeah, no.
And
Well,
I'm sure Todd Stewart doesn't make anything like
no,
that.
but you got to think. I will say this about Tom Jurich is that if you look at the University of Louisville 15 years ago and you look at it today, he has done the biggest turnaround job. I mean, they were in Conference USA to the ACC. He's done the biggest turnaround job of any athletic director in the country. And does he deserve $5 million a year? Probably not. But
I'd
he's
give you two, but I wouldn't give you five.
the ROI on Tom Jurich is more than $5 million a year. But I'm a miserly old dude, so like I don't want to pay people anything. To be
I
honest with you,
wouldn't be paying him $5 million. I mean, that's just my opinion.
probably I don't know, not anymore.
Well, I mean, especially with these latest problems they're having come out. I mean, I wouldn't, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean listen, they're all probably gonna go to jail now, so that's water under the bridge. They ain't gonna have to pay him nothing because they're gonna
I
fire his
don't.
butt.
I don't think they're going to jail. I think they're going to be. I think they'll be
Jurich and
looking for other
Patino
work.
probably won't go to jail, but
No.
they're definitely gone.
Yeah.
They have to be. If the university has any self-respect, if the board has any self-respect, they're gonna at least get rid of Patino, at least.
Well, and from what I've read, that Jurich has been having problems going to the board here lately.
Oh yeah, he's not friends with the current board.
Nope, he does. And with this new president that's at U of L, I'm thinking that they're going to clean house.
And
And
again, they should. I think that they should. And I'm a
I
UofL
agree.
fan, and I like Jurich and Patino, but again, you're not bigger than the university. Move on.
Yep, I agree.
Okay,
So let's set that aside. Um, let's go ahead and talk about what we want to talk about, and that's our big Ball State win. I
Whoop.
got to eat some crow pie, so that was great.
Yeah,
And I
right.
was loving it. Yeah, hey, you
Negative
know what?
Nancy.
I know. I talk about you being negative, and then I went ahead and threw out the negative take there.
Hey, they did better
Uh,
than either of us thought, so that's pretty awesome.
I was extremely happy. Now, let me
Well,
ask you
slow.
this.
Upon the brakes on extremely happy now.
Oh, yeah. Let me ask you this. We'll talk stats here in a second. Before the let me put you in the scenario here.
Okay.
We were in the fourth quarter. We had just scored. We were up, what was it, 26-21, and we went for two. How low did your heart sink when we didn't get the 2 points?
Oh, you're talking about like in the floor, dude. Like,
I
you
mean,
pass out.
I was like, oh my God, here we go again.
Yeah,
This is
this
the
is
week
they're
before.
taking it away. Like we
This
went
is
for
La
two,
Tech.
yeah, yep,
I
absolutely.
was thinking, oh my God, this is La Tech all over again. We're
Absolutely.
going to lose this.
Freaking
And
losing.
let me tell you what, I love Joe Brown.
Amen.
I love that kid.
Amen.
But
I know he's younger than me, but I hate calling him kid because he could eat me with a spork. Like,
oh my God, he could
dude's a
probably wipe
monster.
the floor with me too, and I'm bigger than you. But
It's not hard
I
to do,
mean, and okay, um, but looking stats wise, Mike White actually had a decent game stats wise,
except for the 2 interceptions.
minus the 2 interceptions. Will grant him that he threw what 60%? I think is what that is. I didn't do the math.
Yeah, it was 60. It was like 60-some%, 319 yards, and a touchdown. So
Yeah, it's 60 like 64%.
which is okay.
So he threw better than Ball State's backup quarterback, who they had.
Jesus.
But let's see, Ball State had out their quarterback, running back. Was it middle linebacker that got tossed?
Yeah, there were like 4, and they started with like 4 men down, and then their middle linebacker
Yeah.
or somebody, a defensive player, got tossed for targeting.
Let me tell you, as soon as he did that, I was like, "That's targeting."
Oh yeah, the whole broadcast.
We've
was
already
like,
seen
targeting.
this.
Yeah, we've
It
seen
was
this.
like, we've already seen this. This happened last time. But stats wise, like, when we go back to that, Mike White did awesome, minus 2 interceptions. He had a 44.8 QBR rating.
Which is due to the interceptions, let's be real.
Yeah, yeah. But at the same time, Jack Miles had a 59.1, and he had 2 interceptions.
Yeah,
But I don't know how that worked out.
I have no idea how to calculate QBRs. I'm not even gonna front. I have no idea how that works. I know that we about got our butts kicked by a backup quarterback, and that scares me.
I agree, man. I was the same way. I was like, oh my gosh. I thought, man, this guy's going to march it down the field and score again, and here we are. Same thing as La Tech.
Yeah, we would be on fire. Bowling Green would be
Oh,
shit.
no, they'd lynch you. They'd lynch Sanford. I'm telling you.
Probably. Run him out of town with pitchforks. It would likely happen. Going into a bye week, nothing to distract us. It'd be terrible.
As the old country folk back home say, they'd run him out of town on a pole.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Exactly. WKU rushing, Jakari Moses. Let me tell you, that kid did awesome. And I keep saying kid. I don't mean that he is a kid, but he's younger than I am, so he's going to be a kid.
We're old, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm old. I feel old. When I was his age, I was like, good God, 30's old. So, yeah. He had 12 carries for 56 yards and a touchdown. I mean, you can't beat that. Trigg, just like we were talking about during the game, he got 2.7 is what his average was. Yeah, he had 27 total yards and a TD.
Well, that's like what I said. Is like, if you need 3 yards, he will get you 3 yards. If you need 19 yards, he will get you 3 yards. He's a bowling ball. And Devin's having a.
I'm sorry. I tried to mute that. I'm trying to cough button that.
It's At least we're not Sanford with the mouth noises.
I know. That's the worst, dude. I have that misophonia, I think is how you say it.
Yeah, he looked it up earlier.
Yes, and I have that, and I'm pretty sure that's like the world's worst thing for me is listening to his post-game interviews, and he just goes. I'm like, dude, close your mouth.
Anybody with headphones on is loving this right now.
I'm like,
you're welcome, people with
yes.
ASMR.
Yes, I'm like, Of course, we've got. I included this stat, and I know you're gonna hate it. Cameron Eccles, Looper,
yeah,
with his 3-yard option.
His one sweep that he did. Yeah.
You know what? I don't even care. I think that's hilarious.
He's a pretty decent receiver, so I'm not gonna hold out.
I'm not holding that against him, but I think it's hilarious that we tried to do the option.
Well, what are you gonna do?
I mean, if they did it with like Moses as the back, and like say Furby or Baker running it,
right,
then it'd be a different story. But
it'd be okay.
Yeah, I mean, it would be fast.
Well, that's what you need with an option run. I mean, you have to have speed in them not to bite the right way.
Exactly. Ball State, they did pretty good. Malik Dunner was a beast. I dreaded seeing him come out.
I mean, overall yardage, it didn't seem like he got that much, but it's just every time he got the ball, you're like, okay, well, there's 4 yards. Okay, there's 4 yards.
I mean, and he looked really quick.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, that guy is fast. Of course, he's faster than I am, so it doesn't really make a difference.
Anybody's faster than we are. We're so
exactly. Yeah. Now, receiving-wise, Xavier Lane, awesome kid. 86 yards on 6 receptions. That's awesome. We needed that.
He looks like an NFL receiver.
And he does. Like 19. And he's a freshman.
Yeah,
he's
a redshirt freshman. Right? Yeah, redshirt freshman.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, we got him for 3 more years.
Yes, and I'm fine with that.
Maybe only 2, the way he's looking right now, but still, I'll take it.
Lucky Jackson
There
It
it
is
is.
Jackson, right?
I saw you
Okay.
underline and bold that in the game notes.
Yes, because I did
It,
not want to screw that up again this week.
if you guys did not listen to the first episode, shame on you. But Devin said Lucky Johnson, and so I was like, screw it, we're calling him Johnson from now on.
Yes. Well, Lucky Johnson, it sounds like an Austin Powers villain.
It it
So I mean,
it,
I'm
it
fine with that.
definitely does.
He had 7 receptions for 57. I mean, that's good. That's almost a first down.
Yeah, it's 8 yards, about 8 yards a catch. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, Jakari Moses 4 receptions. I mean, he was on both sides of the ball. And then Deion Yelder, which hey, I'm telling you, that kid's gonna be good. Deion Yelder, he's gonna be like Jack Doyle or Gronk in the league. I'm telling you.
I hope so. I would love to have another Jack Doyle or Tyler Higbee. That's the Western offenses were the best when we have pass catch and tight end.
Exactly. Now, this is not the official rushing yards by any means, but we finished with 88 yards. And I'm sorry, I'm not counting Mike White's 34-yard loss against us. I'm sorry, that was 88 yards. I'll take that.
Well, yeah, I mean it's just the way the NCAA does it. The NFL doesn't do it that way. So
Well, I mean, granted, snap goes over your head, yada yada yada, whatever. But our rushing, Xavier Lane, Jakari Moses, those guys should not be penalized because they did an awesome job running the ball and got us a W. So
true.
defensive wise, what 60 tackles, 34 solo,
Pretty good.
2 interceptions, and a touchdown. And we needed that touchdown. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm here to tell you that like during the game when we were first talking about okay, player of the game, this player of the game, that was pre pick six and pre Ibuniwe fumble recovery.
Exactly.
So that actually kind of skewed or shifted kind of what I thought, which we'll get to after we finish this.
Okay. Jake, you said 24-21 WKU.
I did.
We ended up 33-21. Was that right?
I do not.
Was it
remember the final score
33-21?
of that
Oh
game.
my gosh. We're
That
awful.
Yeah, we're really bad at this game.
Okay. Yeah, I said it was going to be 28-21 Ball State. Yeah. Yeah, it was 33-21.
I was about to say, I just
so
got
we
there
were
on my
both.
phone.
Yeah, I just googled it too. It was really good. I mean, I can't.
Hey,
complain.
I got Ball,
A
I
W
got
is a
Ball
W.
State's right. I got Ball
Yeah.
State's score right, so
That's
props
right.
to me.
Hey, you know what? Hey, 50%. I'll take that.
Small victories.
Now, do you want to discuss your positive, negative takeaways on this game?
Yeah, definitely. So the positives that I saw, we'll start with those, they were consistent drives. Throughout most of the game, we were able to consistently move the ball up and down the field against defense that had one of the top sack leaders in the country in Ball State. So I was really proud of that. The thing I was happiest about, and that I've been complaining about every single game, and I know he doesn't have the greatest hands yet, is targeting Xavier Lane. Xavier Lane is a matchup nightmare for any single player in NCAA football. I do not care who they are. He is huge. He has a great vertical. He's incredibly fast. He looks just physically like Des Bryant out there. Throw that man the ball. And we did. We targeted him consistently, and it paid off. I know he had some drops. He's really excited and just wants to run down the field. But so did Lucky Jackson. So did Nakarius Fant. This kid is going to be our next Taylor. I don't know if he'll get the same stats Taylor did because the man is going to go down in Western history, but he looks like it. I also thought that Trigg, though he didn't have a lot of yards, like I said, he's good for 3 yards. He's your barrel back. I think that Moses is at least until Baker gets better, is your in between the tackles guy. He's your speedster, and then you bring in Trigg, kind of like Boom and Snell last year were for the University of Kentucky. You got your fastback, and then on 3rd and 2, you bring in the angry bowling ball, and that's what I think Trigg is. I was also excited that the defensive line was able to bring pressure consistently this game. We hadn't seen a lot of that. We saw it a little bit against La Tech, but it's hard to take positives away when you have such a heartbreaking loss. In this game, you consistently saw the defensive line bringing pressure to the Ball State quarterback, and we desperately need that, especially considering some of the negatives we're going to talk about, which is the secondary. Last, I would say one of my positives was that Iggy and Green were straight killing it with their tackles. I mean, You want to talk about tackling form being correct and bringing guys down and gang tackling. Those two were outstanding. I just, hands down, I was very impressed with them.
Gotta love it. I mean, really, the only thing I have a gripe about with Trig, there's one play I can't remember exactly what quarter. Um, he's running right, and I'm sure it was like a zone run. But Trig, instead of bouncing it onto the outside where there was a corner and probably had a wide receiver on him, he cuts it back left. And now let's see here. Let's run the numbers. You've got your guys on the left side, which is okay. You've got their guys on the left side, which is not okay. And you've got one corner out there with a wide receiver maybe on him. But I think Trig could take that corner. So let's go to the right side, and you could probably get about 15 to 20 more yards.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
hey,
you pull a Furby, you lower the shoulder, and you smack him.
yeah, just truck him.
Hit stick.
And that's the only complaint I had about him. The kid
Yeah.
does a great job, like you said. He's guaranteed 3 yards. Anything more, you're out of luck. Anything less, you can probably forget it. But
He doesn't have the best vision yet.
No,
He kind of is
no.
like a head down runner. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I agree with you. Lane, he played ball. I mean, you can't complain about the kid. Xavier Lane did an awesome job. Mike
Especially when
White,
it dropped catches. That's my only
yeah,
complaint.
yeah. Well, he's still young,
Yeah, he'll
so
get there. He's gonna get there.
so the early drops I attribute to nervousness
Yeah.
or excitement. You're catching it and you're thinking, man, I'm going to score.
I
I've
got a
got
touchdown.
this.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
Lucky Jackson did that. Lucky Jackson caught the ball and then tried to run before securing it and just drops it. And you see him put his head in his hands. And the announcers are like, yeah, he saw a lot of green and he knows he's faster than that corner.
Exactly. Mike White, hey, was actually throwing deep balls. I know that's your big complaint up until this point.
It has.
Yep.
They opened it up. I was impressed.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I was happy about it. We're throwing the deep ball now. The negative side of that is that he was missing a lot of that deep ball.
He putting too much arm in it.
And I attribute that to his muscle memory with Taywan Taylor, because Taylor could have caught those.
Correct.
Let me tell you, Taywan Taylor, from what I've seen, that kid is fast as grease lightning. And if Mike White just threw it up like that, Taywan Taylor could go get it. These
That was the whole
guys,
game plan.
I don't think so. Yeah, exactly. Throw it up, let him catch it. Another thing I'm happy about is we finished the game.
Amen.
La Tech, I don't feel like we finished. We just didn't have 4 quarters out there. We had 3, maybe 2.5. Our defense showed up. I mean, that was the most awesome thing I've seen. Like Jake said, Green and Iggy were covering well. Let me look at the stats real quick. I want to say that Iggy had 7 tackles and 5 solo tackles. So, I mean, he was out there. He covered
and
everybody.
a forced fumble and a fumble recovery.
There you go. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, you can't complain about that. I mean, that's awesome. But there are some negatives.
Yeah, so my negatives were most of the secondary. They were just playing like garbage. I'm sorry, boys, but you weren't doing well. There were a few times when the O-line, the D-line kind of goofed, either a stupid penalty or, Mike White getting sacked. We're still, his vision's not that great. I know he's just used to having Lamp hug him and hold him and take care of him and make sure none of these big, mean defensive linemen hurt him. But like you said, he ain't walking through that door. Him and Halpin are in the NFL. You gotta take care of yourself. We already talked about Mike White. He just, again, that muscle memory with Taywan, right? Like, just throw it 70 yards and Taywan will get it and it'll be a touchdown. You gotta rein it in. And Baker's still a little injured.
Yep.
He's still, we're not sure exactly what's wrong. We think it's the ribs, but he still seems a little touchy.
Yeah, I mean, he only had 1 carry.
So you know something's up.
Yeah, I mean, something either. I mean, he may have went through warm-ups fine and thought, hey, I can do this, and they put him in, and he's like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah, you get that one hit, and you're like,
yeah, it still hurts, coach. So, I mean, and like we were talking about, my negative would be Mike White's play.
Yeah.
If I had to grade it out, it would be like a C, because there were extreme positives and there were extreme negatives, so it's got to fall somewhere in the middle. I think we had a lot of missed opportunities because of either the passes. I mean, like you were saying, the secondary. they had just had too much of a cushion on the Ball State receivers.
Yeah.
When you have such a cushion on those guys, you've got to make sure you have eyes on them, either looking at their face, because when the ball's in the air, their face will give it away. And you got to throw your hand up there and just, hope to God you block it.
Right. I mean, it's like they were
Or,
playing like a super soft zone, like they were just giving them a lot of space to catch and move in space.
I mean, it was like they were playing basketball almost, afraid to
Right.
foul somebody. And it's like, I realize you're worried about getting a pass interference call, but at the same time, you've got to eat that cushion.
Yep.
You can't let those guys be in there like that. Um, the another thing that griped me was Mike staring down receivers.
Oh my God. He's
Okay,
making googly eyes at him. It's not a first date, Mike. Don't
yeah,
stare at him that hard.
exactly. I mean, Mike, when I'm watching the game and I'm like, he's throwing to him, it's like, okay, dude, you've got to fake it at least. I mean, you look at one, let the secondary shift that way, and then you go, hey, I'm going to throw back to this guy. You can't just stare down one guy,
Yeah,
because
I mean,
these good secondary guys, they will jump it, and that's what happened. We had 2 interceptions because of it.
yeah, I mean, that was dead on. I mean, he threw it directly to the guy he was making googly eyes at, and the secondary saw it and was like, yoink.
Now, on the thing you were talking about with the O-line and D-line goose, what's funny is you don't see offensive linemen, you don't see their goofs until something happens.
Oh, all the time. Yeah, you don't see it until the
Yeah.
quarterback ends up eating turf, and you're like, oh snap.
Oh my God, he missed a block. Yeah, but he's made 67 blocks before that, and you
Right.
just saw this one.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going with this is Jimmy Sims. I think he's done awesome. His name
Yeah,
is
they
Jimmy,
found.
right?
Yeah, it's Sims.
Okay.
They finally got him. Yeah, it's a Jimmy.
I think it
Uh,
is Jimmy, but
I
yeah,
think it
I
might
wouldn't
be.
want
Yeah,
to screw his
it's
name up like I
Sims.
did
Yeah.
Johnson.
Johnson.
But and I think that kid's doing well. I think he's improving week to week from what I've seen. But it's just part of it. It's part of the game. He's got to learn. He's got to grow up. You got
Well,
to see those things.
and not only that, but there has been a lot of movement in the positions of the offensive line. With Halpin and Lamp leaving, your anchors of the line were gone, and so they have to figure out who goes where between Sims and Nord and all the other guys. They're still trying to figure out exactly whose position is what.
Now, did they lose another guy on the offensive line? Because I thought they said 3.
There was. It was Halpin, Lamp, and then another guy who I think got picked up in free agency. I can't remember his name. But yeah, he's playing. I think he's playing for the Bucks. I want to say.
Okay. Now, well, let me kind of. There was one more thing I wanted to talk about, and it was the corner blitzes. Let me tell you, those corner blitzes are the most dangerous thing that can happen to a quarterback. And the bad thing is, it's on his side. It's not on
Yeah, that was
it's
bad.
not on the left side. It was on the right side.
Oh, it's
So
so
that's
bad.
where his eyes are. If it was the left side, you'd say, okay, somebody's got to. And I really want to say that there's a hot call. Now, when I was at Western, the receivers had a hot call. So whenever a corner would shoot in like that, they'd say hot, hot, hot. And the quarterback would turn, he'd throw the ball to that receiver, and then
Right,
you
'cause
get
he's
like
open.
5, 10 yards. Yeah, he's wide open. And it's a quick pass. Boom, boom. But maybe they have that. Maybe they don't. I don't know.
Or maybe they just missed it.
Maybe he just missed it. I don't know who the receiver was that was over there. I didn't see the film on that. But, hey, we won. So,
Yeah, it's hard to complain too much when we go into a bye week with a motivation, with a motivation building win.
exactly. We won. You can't complain about a win. Who do we have next? Do you know?
As far who do you
I
have
mean,
next?
yes, we
Uh,
have.
I'm sorry.
What in the world is that? I'm sorry. I typed in WKU schedule and it's talking about shining leagues.
What?
Yeah, I need to be more specific. Oh, we got UTEP, October
Yeah.
7th. Okay, and that's at
an
UTEP.
away. It's at UTEP. Yeah.
My God, that's a
They're
drive.
yeah they're a trash team. I'm not super worried about them. They're really bad this year. If that was UTSA, I'd be terrified because they're killing the West. But I think UTEP and Charlotte both are 0-3 at this point.
Hey,
Or
you know what?
0-4.
I'm
whatever
fine
it
with
is.
that. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, take
Because
your
we
wins where you can get
need,
them.
yeah, we need those buffer games to kind of help us out. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to cover the offense, and I think we need to discuss the defensive. But it's up to you.
Yeah, go
Player
ahead.
of the game.
Yeah, you do the offensive. That's fine.
Dun, 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 dun. WKU Redout's very first Offensive player of the game, I think Jake and I are both in agreement on this, goes to Jakari Moses.
Yeah, without a doubt.
12 carries, 56 yards, and a TD, 4 receptions for 48 yards. This young man revitalized our offense.
Oh, yeah, he was the energy we needed, for sure.
Exactly. This kid comes in and he just pumps the juice, as some of the old former coaches used to say. He gave them the juice, and they just absorbed it. And hey, I think we all played better because of it.
Oh, we played better.
Well, I didn't play better.
But I didn't either. I got mad.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's part of it. But yeah, I think Jakari Moses deserves our offensive player of the game, and me and you voted, and we got it.
Yeah, so as far as like defense goes, I have such a hard time with this because okay, you got Joe Brown, who he only had 3 tackles, but he had a pick 6, which locked the game away. I think that alone might make him the defensive player of the game. However, Green also had an interception. He had 3 tackles, 2 solo tackles, and Iggy had 7 tackles, 5 of them by himself, and he had a fumble. He stripped the ball, he caused a fumble, and he recovered that very same fumble on the play. So, I don't know. I think, everybody has said, and I'll probably vote, I think Joe Brown's probably your defensive player of the game. A, because Iggy gets it all the dang time, and B, because the pick 6 just iced it. At that point, they could not win. Prior to that, when they were driving, like Devin said, you're sitting there thinking, oh, God, they're going to march down the field and score, and we're going to lose on a last-second play. So,
and I agree with you there. Joe Brown was that giant nail that just literally closed the casket and nailed it shut. And after that, you could literally see that Ball State was completely done. And I think, for me, like you said, Iggy gets it all the time. So my vote, I think I'm going to go with Joe Brown.
Well, so Joe Brown it is.
This is the WKU Redout Players of the Game. Dun, da, 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 da.
Eventually, we'll get good enough at doing things so that Devin doesn't have to, so that we don't have to make silly voices anymore. But until then, you're getting silly voices.
Exactly. You get the silly
effect.
Voice.
And you won't like it.
And I'm doing a couple little things real quick. Talking about UTEP. I know this is going to be next week, but like you said, you are right. UTEP has lost all 4 games.
Yeah.
They lost to Oklahoma.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, that's legit. That's okay.
You
lost to Rice.
Not
they lost to Arizona, which I could give them the Arizona.
All right.
And then NMSU.
Is that New
Mexico
State?
What is it?
New Mexico State, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Because
I was like,
that's the one that almost beat that Kentucky played last year. I'm pretty sure.
You may be right. I don't know.
I can't remember. I think it's New Mexico. Yeah, I think it was New Mexico State, and they're okay.
And now Charlotte has lost to EMU.
Is that like
I don't know who
Michigan?
EMU is.
EMU. Hey, the Australians lost a war to EMU back in the day, so I'm not going to count out emus. The fighting emus.
And if their mascot is not an emu, I swear to God.
Seriously, what are you doing?
Kansas State, that could be a legitimate one because they're number 19.
It depends. I know they lost to Vandy, but I think Vandy might end up being pretty good. So,
who is NCAT? Do you know?
NCAT. That sounds like something you take to go to nursing school.
Yeah, the NCAT.
I have no idea.
NCANT. I literally have no idea.
Oh, North Carolina Ag and Tech, maybe.
Yeah, I could get North Carolina, but anyway.
I don't know.
I think you're right.
North Carolina Ag and Tech. I don't know. They lost to them.
And then we've got GAST. GAST.
That's Georgia. That's Georgia State. Georgia State's
Georgia State. Okay.
Yeah, Georgia State's a good team.
Okay. Because I was like, who the flip is GAST?
Those guys and App State are kind of in that same ballpark of giant killers every once in a while. So I'll give them a couple of those losses.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Everybody has those couple that you kind of got to give them.
But
like
Charlotte's not good. UTEP's not good.
No, and the thing we need to take away from this, we'll do an episode next week too, but we've got to not play down to these guys' level. We've got to stay up.
Washington has we have a history of doing that, man. I mean, you've been watching this team for longer than I have. It's one of those things that has happened in the past. A trash team comes into the Houch and we play like trash, and then somebody good comes in and we just barely get beat because we play lights out. So
Okay.
we can't do that.
Do you want to do your prediction now, or do you want to wait?
Let's just wait because
Okay. I'm good with it.
I
Just threw it
gotta
out there.
figure out who's healthy next week with all the injury reports and stuff.
Sounds good. I will cover this segment, if you don't mind.
Considering you're older than me.
Yes, the WKU history. Now, back in my day, the Hilltoppers became the Hilltoppers not because we started walking up hills to our classes. Actually, I'll stop the voice now. The name Hilltopper comes from the time when the WKU football team, the stadium, was actually located right there next to FAC, the Fine Arts Center.
Right.
Now,
Colonnades.
of course, everybody probably has no idea that was a football stadium. But, of course, this was back like 1920s, okay?
Right.
WKU's football locker room or field house, whatever you want to call it, was on the other side of Cherry. So, like, down by, like, where Thompson Complex, North Wing, and some of those used to be, that's where their locker rooms were, on that side of the hill. So they literally would have to walk over the top of the hill down to the stadium, and so people started referring to them as the Hilltoppers, okay? So, stupid announcers for the stadium thing, get your story straight. Okay.
Yeah, God, they're so bad.
That was so awful. And then the guy tried to pronounce Iggy's name. I want to be like, dude, just chill.
And I'm here to tell you, every time he pronounced either Marquez Triggs' name or Iggy's name, it's just like, oh my God, there is a pronunciation guide in the game notes. Did you read them?
I know, right? I even knew that. I was like, I even said when I was reading the game notes, and I'm like trying to pronounce Iggy's name, and I am the worst with names. I've granted that. But I was like, I'm done. I'll just call him Iggy. It's all cool.
Iye Buniwe.
Exactly.
All right, well, thanks everybody for listening to the second edition of the Redout podcast. Even though there's a bye week this week, we're going to come out with another podcast to preview UTEP and any other crazy things that end up happening in the world of college athletics. So until then, see you next time.